Maureen, this suggestion that America actually still remains in love. I mean, to me, it was a huge moment when the Queen died as to how America might respond to King Charles. They've all watched The Crown. They all may have a jaundiced view from that series about what he's like. They may not have the affection and love that they have for the Queen, for example. So it's been a big moment, I think, for us here as to how America responds. Do you share that feeling that actually the love is still there for the royal family, for the monarchy?
Oh, 100%, Piers. I mean, I think the more that Harry and Meghan reveal themselves to be sort of the cretinous individuals they are, you know, when you talked about Pat, the matron at Ludgrove, you know, that passage, you know, had he at all expressed remorse for being such a horrible little kid, that would have turned it around, you know, but he seems to really revel in cruelty. And one of the details in the book that struck me most, that I thought was so heartless, was against his own father, Charles, who we Americans know of his boarding school experience through The Crown. And he writes about Charles still carrying his worn childhood teddy bear with him as a sort of emotional support, because he is still so wounded from his childhood bullying. And I can just tell you, I mean, I wrote about this, and the reader response we got, the Charles rose in estimation with that detail. That endeared him to people. And Harry is just falling further and further out of favor. He truly is digging his own grave. I don't see why the royals would interfere with that.
I mean, Richard, the big question now is the coronation is coming up in May. I don't think they should be allowed anywhere near the coronation, because not only is Charles getting crowned, but so is his Queen Consort Camilla, who Harry's just shredded in his book.
Look, the reality is, Piers, the royal family have got to maintain the moral high ground. You talked about.
Would you have them at the coronation?
I think they've got to be invited.
Why?
Because that's the moral high ground. That's the mystique, that's the magic, that's the ultimate quality of what we're talking about, the royal family. So, yes, they should be invited, but frankly, behind the scenes, it should be made very clear that they shouldn't attend. But the family itself has to maintain the moral high ground. And frankly, like a candle, let the couple just burn themselves out.
Paula, I mean, my question, which I think Anderson Cooper at CNN asked Harry, well, if you hate it all so much, the institution, the family, why do you want to keep your titles, which attach you to this? Just go and be yourself. Well, that wouldn't make any difference, was his response. Actually, it makes a lot of difference financially to be able to call themselves the Duke and Duchess of Sussex and to turn up at things like the coronation and the Jubilee parades and so on. Of course, that's their currency. Without that, what are they? They're just a pair of quacks in Montecito.
Shall I tell you what they are? They are the people who have identified that this great institution has problems, and that this great institution is not confronting its
We're talking
problems.
about racism again.
We're talking about racism.
There is no racism.
We're talking about domestic abuse.
We've already said...
We're talking about unconscious bias.
Domestic abuse?
We're talking about ignorance.
What's domestic abuse?
Well, we heard about the fight, didn't we?
Well, Harry pushing him into a dog bowl.
With William.
The bloke went to war in Afghanistan.
So
he's squealing about having his necklace broken and shoved in a dog bowl.
We've heard about mental health issues. So
what we
know
OK, let me ask... OK, Paula, let me ask you.
Raised very important issues
these two...
for society,
all right,
and they need to be addressed.
I hear you. These two have a foundation website called Archewell. It says it's about compassion. That is the bedrock of what they stand for. They've disowned all of her family, apart from the mother. The father lives 70 miles away, has never met his grandchildren, never met Harry. Hang on, let me finish.
The father who was trying to sell stories on his daughter.
The father made a big mistake for which he's apologised many times.
OK, so he's allowed to make a mistake.
Let me finish. Okay. They've disowned him and all of her other Markles. They've all been disowned. Now, all of his family... got rid of all them as well. Where's the compassion in anything? He said he didn't write this book to hurt and harm them. All he's done in the book is hurt and harm them. The guy wouldn't know how to spell compassion. He is to compassion what Madonna is to growing old gracefully. Right? Honestly, he is.
Piers.
No, but I'm sorry. And this idea that somehow we got domestic abuse because William rightly chinned him over being so insulting to his wife, or that we should care about their mental health when they don't give us stuff about the mental health of all the royal family they've been trashing. Tina, final word to you.
I answered the question, but Tina, I respect you, so...
Tina.
I mean, look, it's
the hypocrisy that makes me puke.
But but I think they should be invited to the coronation.
Do you?
Yes, I do, actually, because I think that, you know, they have, as you said, Richard, they have to take the high ground. They have to take the multi-generational sort of Chinese outlook to this situation. I feel that actually, between the lines, Harry's lobbying like mad to get back into the action. I mean, the fact that he didn't mention anything about the whole racism thing in the book, obviously he has been told, you have crossed a red line. If there's any more of this, Harry, you're out.
Or it simply didn't happen the way they said it happened.
I think he's trying to get back in. The fact that he praised Susan Hussey, what was that about?
Yeah, complete
that was a
nonsense.
complete bone that he was.
Because he's a total hypocrite.
That's not the behaviour of a rational person.
No, it's
to
not.
think like that.
Well, I'm going to discuss that with Paul McKenna a little later. He's an expert in, that kind of behaviour. What is it all about? Has Harry lost his marbles? We'll talk about that. It's been a great pack. Thank you very much to Maureen, to Roya, to Tina, to Paul and Richard. Probably the greatest pack assembled in royal punditry history. So thank you.